WrestleFriends! WrestleFriends podcast!
Captain Jago piloting the ship.
Captain Jago. Oh.
This is a sinking ship, then, isn't it?
Captain Ned's eye.
Second.
Captain
That was a high five between them two.
Not you.
Not me.
Too sweet.
So this is the second WrestleFriends mini of the day. I sent out an itinerary to these guys, but it's obvious neither of you looked at it.
I did. I've looked,
Nerd.
yeah.
Factions are a good thing, aren't they?
Awesome.
Fucking brilliant.
Explain.
Just are. Who's your... And that's the end of this WrestleFriends mini.
That was mini, that one.
Right, okay. Who's your favourite faction, Fraser?
Of all time.
Of all time.
Ooh.
And why?
Ooh, right. On the spot, because I didn't know we were talking about this.
Well, apart from the fact I said factions before we started.
Yeah.
It was
that was literally 30 seconds ago.
ago.
I know, I know that was talking about pizza.
Pizza, yeah.
Yeah, food.
You know what I mean? Why? Fat boys like food.
Yellow.
So, my favourite faction ever and why? Nation of Domination. Because hilarious. Nah, I'm joking.
That's funny.
Because it started the whole thing about The Rock.
So The Rock's beginnings, and because The Rock's the most important sports entertainer.
You know, to be fair, it was pretty awesome. There was a lot of good people in the nation. Farouk was awesome at the time. He was
Owen
pretty
Hart.
much the best heel.
Owen Hart.
D'Lo
D'Lo Brown, fucking
giving you the
boy.
lowdown. Do you know what I mean? There was a lot. There was a lot
Kama
of
Mustafa,
and all them.
Godfather,
Mark Henry.
Mark Henry.
PG-13, the little rapper guys, the little rapper white guys used to get tricked around all over the
There you
place.
go, loads in there.
Ahmed Johnson was in the nation.
I mean,
Then they done that cool thing, didn't they? The Rock took over and he kicked Farouk out.
yeah, that was what made The Rock. So I'll say that, although I don't think that's my actual favourite, because
It was just some like.
it's because if I say
Everyone loves it. Everyone, when you hear "We are the nation of domination,"
Yeah.
everyone gets it like, oh,
but if I
nation?
basically if I say what I wanted to say by DX, then it's like, oh, obviously.
yeah.
Well, I'm going to
So-
say DX.
So because I knew David would say that, so that's why I had to say it. My second favourite, possibly. Although the Shield was amazing.
Made like when I go into mine, like the main reason why I think a faction's a good thing, like the Shield made 3 stars.
The 3 biggest stars, arguably.
Right
No,
now.
I was joking.
Or you
I
could
want
say
to
the
back.
you could say the backbone of the
Ambrose is a
company.
I still think when Ambrose comes back, he'll still be.
If
It's
Ambrose is a
the
heel.
3 of them are the
He's a
backbone.
heel.
Uh-huh.
The backbone of WWE. Seth's your workhorse. Roman Reigns is your new top guy. Ambrose is like
New
like you
Austin.
said, he's important.
He's like an Austin kind of guy, isn't
Yeah.
he? Like
He'll be a heel when he comes back.
anti-hero.
But I think you're never going to get 3 of them all being a heel at the same time, all being a face. They're going to move around.
Uh-huh.
They're going to, but that for the next 5 or 6 years, like that is the backbone of WWE. Those 3 guys.
The thing is, it was the perfect thing of a faction when it's a heel faction.
Positive booking. They
Yeah.
came in, killed everyone. It's all you need to do.
Yeah.
Have people kill everyone.
They were supposed to be bad guys, and basically because it was so good the way it booked, and they were so good, people just loved them.
It's a shame they
Simple as that.
didn't work out though, innit? Because like that could have actually been something that got Roman over eventually. Like because they just had a shit ton of bad luck. Didn't they?
Injuries,
Like,
illnesses.
Roman got that thing.
That
didn't he?
WWE
flu
AIDS
thing.
that happened.
And then Ambrose when they had the titles.
Then they dressed Angle up as like
That was
embarrassing dad Shield member.
Dad in a vest. That's why I don't wear vests.
Vest. Vestibule.
It wasn't the best, was it?
But yeah, Shield's a good shout because like of recent times.
I'll say Nation is mine because I'm not saying DX because of Dave.
I'm saying DX.
Which DX?
Right. Well, the first. So when I dipped back into wrestling again, the Attitude Era, after a long sort of like break from it, the version of DX was the one with X-Pac,
The one with the
New
tank.
Age Outlaws, and the tank one, which I really enjoyed. And they're probably the reason that
China
I
was
stuck,
still in then. as
yeah,
well.
in China, and it's probably the reason that I stuck with them.
It was a big DX, that wasn't it? That was a lot of them.
It was probably the reason that I stuck with WWE and kept watching. Round about the time of that Deadly Game tournament, the Survivor Series one, and it was fucking awesome. But then,
Can I just on
then I
a
went
fucking
back.
side note? Is that your favorite WWE pay-per-view ever?
possibly, yeah.
Because he's bringing up. It's fucking awesome. It's fucking awesome.
I honestly can't
really
remember
enjoy
it.
But
Really? You need to go back and
watch
watch
Deadly
it,
Game.
What year?
1998.
Oh, I might go home and watch it right now.
I've actually, if you go on the network, right, I'm part way through because I've been watching it.
It was the one where
Do
it
you share
wasn't.
the network?
Yeah. It was. We can share progress now.
Can
We can
you?
share progress as well.
Oh, cool.
Oh my god.
It was the one where it wasn't the Survivor Series matches. It was a tournament, and it was
share
where The
fest-
Rock
share
turned
fests
heel
as well.
on Mankind.
Yeah, he did. Joined the corporation.
Oh, okay.
A big boss
I remember
man
it at the
kept,
time.
like,
I haven't
One
seen
of
it
my
since.
favourite WWE moments ever is where you kind of think at the beginning that Mankind's the one that Vince favours, but it becomes apparent over the night that he's not. And he brings out Dwayne Gill as his first opponent. Amazing. Anyway, sorry.
Right, anyway, so that was the version of DX that I first got into, and then obviously, like, after that, and I started watching old, like, episodes and stuff of Raw, and then I got into the Shawn Michaels group. So the first, like, incarnation of the group's probably my favourite. I thought they were the edgiest.
Shawn, Triple H,
Rick
China, Rick Rude.
Yeah, they were the edgiest. They were the fucking funniest. They were the ones that got away with the most and give DX the name of, like, being, like, sort of, like, renegades. When they got older, I don't think it really worked as well.
Well, there was only two of them at the end, wasn't there?
2006, and there was only, like, the two of them, and they were just doing, like...
They did a weird thing.
Stupid daft
They did a
things.
weird thing where Billy Gunn and either X-Pac or Road Dogg, I can't remember which one, had like a match about the DX name.
Yeah, that was when they split up for a bit, wasn't
That
it?
was shat.
Yeah, they didn't do the breakup very well because the Sharp got them back together again, I think, when they realised that wasn't working.
Pretty
They've done
iconic all
that
the
thing
time
where they
stuff.
got dressed up as Nation of Domination. That was fucking hilarious. But yeah, DX.
Factions are good.
My favourite DX moment of the you're not even mentioning as well when it was just Triple H and Shawn when they were like older.
Well, you did.
I did,
That's what
I
you
just-
said.
I just mentioned
it
He literally just
2
said
seconds ago.
He literally just said it was better than that.
It was better than that. It was when they occupied the ring for some reason, and everyone who was coming out for a match, they were like kind of beating them up, and they were playing cards in the ring and stuff like early
They
on.
were doing strip
They put the
poker.
headbangers through the tiny little like card table and stuff like that. That was cool.
They had a barbecue in the ring, remember that, with the little wieners?
Good times.
I think where they got old, and it looked uncool.
And they were doing daft, like, little pranks, weren't they, instead of being, like, proper, because they'd done the whole swearing thing and they had to do the apology.
And then it was
And
PG
like,
when they came back.
And then what they were doing later on was just daft little pranks and stuff. It wasn't really, like, edgy, was it?
No.
No. Still fucking cool, though.
What's yours, Mark?
My favourite faction of all time in WWE is Evolution.
Oh, did it have to be WWE? Did it?
No.
Okay.
Just
Triple H.
that's who I went with because it's like
Standard.
Triple H, Orton, Flair, and Batista made stars for the next 10 years through the breakup. Gave Flair a new lease of life. A perfect blend. The Boss, who was the champ, the young and up and comer, the legend, and the powerhouse. At one point had all the belts. I love it. Like going back to current stuff, I'd love it if
Yeah.
Undisputed Era had all. When Fish comes back and they have
Every
all
belt.
the belts, that would be mint.
Good old fishy.
Fish boy.
More important to WWE than DX.
Evolution.
Yeah.
Probably
Making
for building new
stars.
stars, yeah.
Like X-Pac, Billy Gunn, Road Dogg were never as big as stars as like
Not like singles,
Well,
no.
they made the stars as well. Randy Orton and Batista were nobodies
not
really.
known.
Well,
Yeah.
they weren't nobodies, but like they were.
They weren't really doing anything,
Yeah,
though.
exactly.
So
That's what I mean.
I agree with you on that. Like, definitely.
And another reason that I'd never thought of until we just had that conversation there, like Evolution's kind of legacy has never been tarnished. They were mint, it was a thing, and then they ended. Whereas DX, they've like
Well, they're still.
Like
They
flogged
did
it like
that
a
thing
dead horse.
against fucking Reigns and that, didn't they? When they brought them back for that, and they kind of fizzled
no,
out.
you know why I thought that was cool though? They had really good matches with the Shield.
Yeah. It still fizzled out near the end.
But they've still got the potential future matches if Batista ever came back against Orton or Triple H because of the whole Evolution thing.
They could still have Flair
the
there
best?
as a manager as well, couldn't they? Like as a outside.
Mint theme music. The Evolution theme music's mint. I love it.
Let me in it.
Evolution.
Was that? It was Motorhead, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, it's like Triple H thing, wasn't it? So reasons like
so right, Evolution.
Things that I think
Batista
are important for a faction. Good faction can promote terror, dominate storylines, can be the main focus of the company. It should be that if you've got a faction, it should be the main thing.
If you've got a faction as well, they should always start as a heel faction. And like what they've done with the Shield and stuff like that, if they become so over, and the NWOs, people like that, if they become so over where people are cheering them anyway, then make them into cool faces.
Yeah.
But like a good badass faction, it's about its gang mentality, innit? It's like it's meant to be bad, isn't it? Like,
well, there are some factions that are good because of that, though. That they have to become a faction to compete with the bads. Not many.
That was a good time though, round about DX Nation. There was loads of factions around. The Hart Foundation.
Was there the Ministry then as well? Undertaker?
There was the late 90s was the time of the faction.
Yeah, the corporate ministry when it all collided and one of the biggest thing that's ever happened.
And you had the Nation fighting DX. And then before that you had Las Boricuas and DOA and all that shit.
It's really missed now, I think.
I think a faction can hold so much together.
4 is the magic number for me.
Yeah.
So Shield doesn't count them.
3 to 4.
No. Under my rules they don't, but they were awesome. But
you could have a cheeky woman manager in there as well.
Could you add another? Well, here's a question about Shield. Could you add a 4th member of the Shield?
No.
They were going to put Cassius in,
I know.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no.
But they were we want Roman instead.
Yeah. Well, how would that have worked?
Can you imagine?
Because it was
Cassius versus Lesnar every week.
And obviously, I don't. You can just take this on face value. But CM Punk reckoned it was his idea, and he put Cassius in with Seth and Dean, and they were like, "Nah, we want Roman instead." I'm kind of glad that they decided that.
I think CM Punk says a lot of things that.
I think he says a lot of things. That's why let me open caveat was CM Punk said this.
I think Phil speaks a lot of shit.
CM Punk says words that don't mean anything.
The breakup should create stars. Should always create main event stars. If you're kind of the reason you've done it is not to create main event. Even the New Day, who I love for a lot of reasons, and I preferred when the heels. That still has to have an end game, and the end game has to be Big E's main event star.
Do you not think they've left it too long with them? People don't care anymore about them.
I think that's because the way they've treated the tag team division. I don't think they're.
I think though, if Big E starts beating them two up,
if they
have a breakup, it'll still be a big thing.
If they split them up just after they'd sort of turned face, and
we've
they were
talked about this a lot.
It's too much money in New Day.
They were hot though, weren't they, when they first turned face? And the
heel run was amazing.
I know the heel run was amazing, but then they turned them face because everyone fucking loved them and they were really hot, right? That would have been the time to pull the trigger on them splitting up.
To be fair, if we class them as a faction, as many lasted as long as the New Day.
Nah.
They've literally they've went from being religious New Day, New Day, New Day to talk about pancakes.
Yeah.
They've literally went from one cultural extreme to the other. In the still one of the best things in the WWE. Whether
they are still on the microphone and stuff the best.
But even in ring,
funny.
In ring, they never disappoint.
In ring,
all three.
The stuff they're doing with all three of them.
The stuff they're doing with the Usos were mint.
Yeah.
Not a fan of face factions. I know just me talking about the face New Day. Numerical advantage makes no sense if it's a faces.
It's gang mentality, like I said, innit? They should be ganging up on people and beating them up.
So what do you think of sanity? There's only 3 now.
Should be 4 though.
Yeah, there was 4.
Well, you don't. She is coming up the roster.
It was cooler. It was cool. Yeah, she's going to be on that Evolution.
But just
cooler if when there was 4.
I'd say 3 to 4. I don't think it's fair just saying 4. 3 to 4.
Is that because of the Shield?
No, this goes back to the fucking Room 101.
What about
argument again? There's been some pretty successful 3-man factions.
Yeah. What about Nexus, where there was 12? or something.
Well, NWO.
But a lot of
I think that's
what
completely
was bad,
different extreme. That one.
Yeah,
like.
what was bad about the Nexus.
I don't even know if you can call that faction.
What was bad about the Nexus is like when there was 12 guys, and they were like, none of them had there
was like 8
apart
brothers.
from Wade Barrett and Daniel Bryan, nobody had a personality. Whereas like Evolution, it's like you get over who Batista is, you get over who Randy Orton is. Like all the guys who were in like.
That's where a faction becomes a bit like daft,
So-
innit? When you've got too many members, like when NWO, it was good when they first got together because it was like the three of them. But then
Even if you add like X-Pac in and stuff like
Yeah.
that, but then it was like Virgil.
and then it just blew up into this mental thing where there was like factions within factions. It's the same.
You
thing
had
they do with
like
Bullet Club,
even
isn't
your
it?
job
You know what I mean?
guys would be affiliated with like NWO.
It
in
gets to
some
the
way.
point where you're keeping them together just to sell the fucking t-shirt, innit?
Here's a faction that kind of worked, where the main star didn't get the push. The Brood,
Yeah.
Yeah, Gangrel.
because they went
Close friend of ours.
If you listen to the ANC podcast as much, you realise that there were 7 months. That's how long they lasted.
And it shows you like how good that was. Like I listened to the same episode
Yeah.
as you. Shows you how good that was. That it was so short, but everyone remembers the Brood. So it was so
remember all the,
impactful.
like-
Gangrel was the guy as
Do you
well.
remember, like,
ANC
he
were
was
nobody.
but he was put with them. Like this is coming from his mouth in the podcast. Like,
Yeah.
he was like a 15-year vet already, like indie guy, and he was brought in to show Edge and Christian how to behave in like locker rooms, how to like conduct yourself, and like what he taught must have been pretty good because they were
the
two
big
of the
change
fucking
now,
best
apparently,
ever.
Like you know, like when during the Attitude
That was
Era,
a faction,
everyone was,
right?
like, piss head, and like I was pissed, and
Who?
X-Pac was dying and everything like that. Like during the Attitude
Yeah,
Era,
yeah.
everyone was on.
Everyone
the piss
was
all the time.
fucked.
Apparently, the big change came when Edge and Christian came in, and like they were clean cut, like.
It was the
clean
same as the
living
Hardy
guys,
Boys?
like,
Loved
The
wrestling.
Hardys
yeah,
did.
just wanted to wrestle.
The
The
Hardys
as well.
and ANC. That's another faction because they had what's his
Team
face
Extreme.
Oh no, they had Michael Hayes at the beginning.
and Lita as well.
Yeah.
So there's 4 of them.
Team Extreme.
No, Michael Hayes and Lita were
They
never
never- yeah.
Well,
on at
that's-
the same time, but there was
There's
three
always
pieces.
3 of them.
Weren't there like a
Three.
Freebird thing, like a knockoff
No.
Fabulous Freebird thing?
No, at first,
They were.
I've heard this on. It might be in ANC as well.
it would have been, yeah.
Where
'Cause they were both on
where
the
like
Hardys.
Michael Hayes was like, oh, well, dress like I did in the 70s, and they were like,
no.
we wear like baggy jeans and fucking vests.
Uh-huh.
But but the thing is,
best.
They did wear vests, fucking string vests.
but he helped elevate them too.
But
as
that's
well.
obviously advice in like 20 years in the business,
Yeah.
whatever.
So even though they're small factions and pretty much both kind of tag teams, well, actually no, Brood wasn't because Gangrel was like a European title holder at the time,
Yeah.
I think. Whereas Michael Hayes didn't really wrestle, did he? He was just a manager, really.
Yeah.
But the Brood goes back to what I said about one of the good things that like the faction should always make main event stars, and I think the Brood was successful whereas that's concerned because like you say, like I even said it on the podcast that like I did all these things like main event at WrestleMania with the Undertaker like won all these belts and like people come up to us conventions and are like, do you remember the Brood?
Yeah.
Like 7 months, people loved it.
They had a cool factor.
Remember when we met Gangrel? Well, I did. And you stood
did
at the
that.
other end of the
I stood
room.
at- yeah.
There was like
It cost money.
loads of things I wanted to ask him. Like he wrestled people like The Rock.
Yeah.
He wrestled people like Stone Cold Steve Austin, and all I could
He beat some of them because he was the European champion holder at one time.
all I could
Another
think of
guy-
saying at the time was, "I really enjoyed your work during the Attitude Era," and then walked away. And then like there were so many things I could
That's
have
good
asked
enough
him.
though.
I bet he was like, "What about since?" I've followed you.
I only just recently.
He's
realised
another
he still
guy as well
wrestled.
who apparently was
I thought
like
he died.
he's another guy who apparently was like had all these guys who were top like the top stars in that backstage, The Rock and that Austin. Apparently Gangrel was like nobody fucked with Gangrel.
He's
Like
got his
in,
own wrestling school.
in a real kind of
It was pretty
Nails.
Like didn't
Asylum,
really get hurt.
Asylum Wrestling School.
Yeah, he was talking about that on the podcast, wasn't he? He seemed like a really nice guy. Really good guy.
I like listening to his.
Just needs to stop like biting
Right.
people and that.
I think he's
so
calmed a
I've
bit
got
now.
some guys who like are honourable mentions who I've enjoyed, or who I think could have been more.
What factions or people?
Well, obviously
yeah.
it's factions.
Well, you just said guys.
Well,
Guys within
groups,
factions.
Groups.
Okay.
Straight Edge Society should have been Punk's first main event run.
Should have
Like-
went on longer that.
Who was in that?
Total
game?
missed opportunity. That was Punk, Gallows,
Gallows.
Mercury, and Serena.
Yeah.
Sanctimonious Straight Edge Jesus with the shaven headed followers. Massive heat every time. Like the boos were like incredible, but never got like reach the heights it
I
should
think
have.
what made
Actually ended up with the three of them losing the Big Show in a handicap match.
Yeah.
Boo.
Yeah. I think that what made that one, from what I remember, was when she got her head shaved. And because I think it was such a crazy thing for a woman to get her head shaved, that was when everyone was like, whoa, that's too much.
His mic work, Punk's mic work at the time was
Do you not just think they didn't like him at all, Punk?
I thought at the time that was getting so over, they were like, oh, we've got to kill it.
It was the same, similar as Brian, wasn't it? It was like they don't want the smaller guys to be the big guy.
It was like when they give him the heavyweight belt and then they put him to like the championship belt was getting like defended in the middle of pay-per-views and stuff. Like he finally got the championship belt.
That always
but they weren't letting him main event.
That always happens with people they're not confident with, though.
For me, the championship match should always be the last match. Whoever is your champion.
Do you feel the same about that with the Gargano and Ciampa feud happening though?
What? Yeah.
So
that Aleister Black versus Lars Sullivan should have been.
I mean,
the
you
last
couldn't
match.
follow it, but like
that should have been the last match, even.
But really, your title match should be the last match. Yeah.
What about WrestleMania when you've watched 7.5 hours of wrestling and by then everyone's literally exhausted by the time the last match comes on? In every WrestleMania now,
well,
that's long.
That's another case of bad.
So you prefer
for me, like
you prefer to see like AJ in the middle because you'd be too tired by the end.
Yeah, every WrestleMania happens
7 hours long. It's ridiculous.
I know. Every WrestleMania.
We're getting off top. We're getting off top.
Factions.
Job Squad, Comedy Jobbers. Thought it was really funny.
Good times.
Banding Comedy Jobbers banding together. Al Snow, the Blue Meanie, Bob Holly, Gilbert, and Too Cold Scorpio. Famously helping mankind against the corporation.
What about Right to Censor?
Right to Censor, awesome.
That was a good one. They were all nobodies as well.
That was so annoying, wasn't it?
I think that showed how good Stevie Richards could be.
He was mint.
Going back to Job Squad as well. Their split started off the Hardcore Revolution as well. Holly versus Al Snow. Just putting it out there.
Cool.
Nice.
But yeah, Right to Censor was awesome. So many memories I've got of that time period. Right to Censor were involved.
It was kind of almost like what Drew Gulak was kind of doing in 205 with his like against all the actual things 205's good for. Right to Censor literally got like the Godfather and turned him into the Goodfather. Val Venus was literally a porn star, turned him into this office worker. Like literally every single person, and it kind of worked.
It was cool.
And it was literally the worst music I've ever heard in my entire life because it was horrible. But like it worked.
What I liked is Stevie Richards was always like job guy, nobody cared, but he was put in like quite a prominent role in Right to Censor, involved in a lot of storylines. Showed what he had, showed how good he was.
Well, he had feuds against top guys when he was there.
Class on the mic.
He was a great mouthpiece for them, though, wasn't he? Like
I remember him having matches against the top guys in the company, which he never did before that, or never after.
I always liked Stevie Richards, and I loved it that he got that chance to like show.
Because they were against hardcore matches and stuff as well, weren't they? They didn't like any of that. Because I'm sure
they were against everything.
Steve
like
Blackman had a feud with one of them as well.
He did, yeah, because he was like, well, it's just too violent. And then Richards was also in the BWO, talking about factions, Blue World Order.
Yeah.
That's another thing I've decided to do.
Brad
So I'm
Short's
watching
flavour.
the last 2 years of ECW. Like
you should have like a weekly report on them. Well, not weekly.
I've only just started, so like I'm only like I like literally.
And some of the early stuff must be quite hard to watch though, because it's like
I cannot watch it all. I didn't realise it went on for so long, ECW, and like I thought I cannot like I want to watch the most recent stuff, so I'm going to watch the last 2 years until I finish.
Do you know what my
I like the WWE's version of ECW.
No, I'm not getting like the last
proper
2
one.
years.
Yeah,
of the run.
and it's decent, like
production wise.
I
know it's a side note because it's nothing to do with factions, but I really loved the Mike Awesome Spike Dudley matches because they were just ridiculous in ECW.
The Dudleys, they were a bit of a faction in ECW.
Oh, yeah, loads of them.
Massive.
It was based on the fact that like.
There was loads of them, man.
It was all the
it was like Danny Dudley was a travelling salesman, so that's why they're all from different mams, and looked so different. And that's what, like he delivered on an Indian reservation, so there was dancing with Dudley. It was like Snot Dudley, Sign Guy Dudley, Devon Dudley, Bubba Ray Dudley.
Wasn't Bubba not supposed to be one of the main ones at the start?
Bubba Ray Dudley was while they were all like aggressive and nuts and wanting to fight, he was like happy and like go lucky, and then it eventually turned that Devon was the most serious like kind of guy, and then he changed him into like a heel, and that's where they're like crazy Dudleys.
Oh, I read something the other day, a side note, because at ECW, that at one stage WWF at the time wanted to sign New Jack, Would that have not been the biggest mistake?
He was one of the
ever?
guys who shitted on Brian Christopher dying as well.
Of course he did.
Yeah.
Oh, see the ECW guy that was
Yeah.
saying that he
Jerome Young.
fucking Lola died
Yeah.
next because he's a fucking nonsense. Or
Yeah.
New Jack was
I would have
literally the
loved
worst.
to see New Jack in WWE. Like,
He's literally the worst person.
Tell you what factions that are working at the minute right now as well over on Impact, the LAX versus LAX thing's quite interesting. Like,
it is. But like, and Eddie Kingston, I've always been a big fan. I'm loving that he's getting like
I'm loving Impact. At the minute.
Mike time.
Like honestly, it's
One intense dude.
They went more basic again. Old
If you
school
wanna
on
watch-
So what it's
if you wanna
Kingston,
watch
it's Kingston's
a Raw,
versus it's Kingston's aligned with the old version of LAX.
If you want to watch it, like, because they're not doing like scripted promos in Impact, they're just letting them do what they used to do in WWE. So if you want to watch something a little bit more raw, and you want to see what like OVE and that are doing, because they're another good faction that are coming out of that as well. Callahan and OVE. You should definitely watch. I would like to do a little episode, like I said, where we talk about Impact at the minute.
Why don't we do another
I
mini
watched,
where
I
it's
watched
just
the highlights
Impact?
of Slammiversary, so
Right,
talk about the
Slammiversary.
next time.
Yeah.
Impact. Impact.
Impact?
No. Factions. So, in terms of the indie scene, at the minute, we've got Schadenfreude, which means pleasure from someone else's misfortune. And it's Chris Brooks, Kid Like Us, Kyle Fletcher, Mark Davis, and Volta in Fight Club Pro.
Are you impressed that I already knew what that meant?
Yes.
Because I'm shit with words.
Yes, I am impressed.
I also
But
knew
not because I think you shit with words, it's just I'm impressed
I'm
with
shit
some
with
of the
words.
things.
I don't know.
I made
But-
it. I used it in a joke once.
But that's a cool faction, like, check that out.
New Japan have lots of big factions.
There's no get into them.
Like fucking.
And New
It's
Japan-
faction,
it's just
faction.
If you're not in a
country.
faction in New Japan, then
The thing
Right.
is, they
you
use
don't
it
know
differently.
about
They use it differently than anyone else that's ever used factions.
Yeah.
So
You're in a
it's
faction,
just
but you're
loose.
almost not.
it's just loose, isn't
Right,
it?
I've got a list of factions.
I like saying factions.
I want you to stop us if you want to talk about any of them, if you want to mention anything.
So she'll
Every
just
one of them pages gonna be right.
Heenan family, the corporation, the
Yeah.
Wyatt family.
the corporation. What do you want to talk about?
Good in that, weren't they?
They were good. I enjoyed
Nice.
that. That was kind of like.
No, like you have to have something to say if you're going to stop us.
That was kind of
I
like
did
the NWO was going on over in WCW, so they were a bit like, ooh, let's have a big faction going on here as well.
Famulous Freebirds,
Nah,
Raven's Nest.
Raven's Flock.
We don't like
Two.
Raven. We don't like Raven
Yeah, they've called it
anymore.
Nest here, but
It
it's
was
fine.
Raven's Flock.
We don't like Raven anymore.
LAX, you've already said. The Ministry,
I like
Corporate Ministry, Suzuki Goon, D-Generation X.
that. Degeneration.
I'm going to leave the ones that aren't that interesting now.
Oh, so this is why you got this print off.
Ballet Club.
Mummy's boy.
See that? Don't.
Ballet Club wasn't really a thing though, was it?
What,
It's like the fan base, isn't it? That.
Paul A. Dangerous Alliance is one of my favourite ones from like 92 WCW. The Horsemen, The Nexus, Team Angle, Main Event Mafia.
Our Team Angle I quite liked actually.
Aye, that was
Forgot about the fucking main event Mafia as well. Like,
Who were they?
didn't enjoy that.
That was in TNA.
Oh, I don't
It
know.
was like Booker T, Kurt Angle, people like
It
that.
was too
Yeah,
much. Too much.
Team Angle, all three of them were mint.
Real Americans with Zeb Coulter,
Oh,
Cesaro,
right, yeah,
and
Who was in Team Angle?
all of the
Charlie Haas and Shelton Benjamin.
the colony in
I can't
Chikara,
remember it.
Do you not remember them?
No.
the ants, the
I remember.
colony.
I remember all. I don't remember them being a.
Well, they're all
faction.
like wrestlers, weren't they? Like wrestlers, and they were.
I
like,
love Team Angle.
They were mint because they were.
Bring Team Angle
Well,
back. They
well-
could have Chad Gable.
Well, that's what they thought were going to happen, but it didn't.
Jason
Jason
Jordan.
Jordan.
Yeah. Would have been awesome.
That's what they could have done, but yeah, because they were the tag team title holders.
We could
And
really
Angle-
do it
and
now
Angle was
though,
the
with
title
them all
holder.
being on Raw.
Did they have all three? Did they have all the titles at the same time?
Yeah, it was mint.
Was it like the year? Was it like the Intercontinental or something? In the
No,
tags?
it was
The main.
WWE Championship was Kurt Angle and they were the tag
That
champs.
that Charlie Haas never really went as much anywhere, but Benjamin after that became the gold standard, didn't he? And he became
Gentleman's Club, Chuck Taylor, Drew Gulak, Orange Cassidy, and the Swamp Monster. Obviously, anything involved with Chuck Taylor, it's cool.
cool.
Cam
Chuck
Cornette, Swiss Money Holden from TNA,
Cool.
Demolition, because that was the free preset at one point.
Cool.
Fortune was another TNA one.
I can't remember.
The Brood have said $1 Million Corporation. You remember the Corporation from the early 90s?
No.
With like when
Ted
the
DiBiase.
$1 Million Man, and he had like
Oh, yeah.
he had King Kong Bundy and Bam Bam Bigelow.
Was Virgil in there as well?
Virgil
IRS,
wasn't in.
wasn't it?
I tell you who was in it. Nikita Koloff, not Nikita Koloff. Nikolai Volkov, who just died. He was in the $1 Million Corporation.
Bless him.
Cool. NWO Japan, NWO Wolfpack, NWO, all of them.
LWO.
Let's just stop that there.
Cool.
Lucha World Order, remember them?
Should have organised them better. Lucha World Order.
Mark just had
Bum WO.
several printed sheets of paper for no
Just gonna
reason
put-
because
chuck 'em in
Fraser
the
just
bin.
said cool every time.
Chuck them in the bin.
Horsemen.
Horsemen. Like we obviously went around for the 70s
The
and
Horsemen
80s
I remember
Horsemen.
as the ones with Benoit. I remember when he had Benoit and that.
Yeah,
Mike Jones
that
stuff.
was cool. And
Yeah.
like my one was Barry Windham and Lex Luger were in.
Aye.
So there was lots of versions. Obviously, like people consider the 70s and 80s one to be like the
Yeah.
best. But like my one was the one from the early 90s and slightly later, like you said. But like
Mm-hmm.
all versions, and it was the theme music for the Horsemen was mine. That like.
Mm.
So if you had one thing about factions to summarise, what would it be?
It's just cool, isn't it?
Dave?
It has to be cool to start with, yeah.
Should
If you have to have a
if a faction's done properly, you can build your whole program around it.
It can be your main thing. And that's what they need to do with
Oh, I've got an idea. So
Undisputed Era
Undisputed
pins
Era.
NXT at the minute, and that's like kind of where I got the idea of.
got
going
somewhere
on.
to finish it. Last week, this is how we finish it.
There's
You can have as many as you want. Let's finish. Okay? So you create a faction, as many people as you want. As many people as you want in a faction. Dave.
Right, roster now.
Yes.
Right, I'm gonna go and save some people. I want Ty Dillinger. I give up. I forget.
Ty Dillinger.
Tyler Breeze.
No, actually, yeah.
And you
Tyler
call them
Breeze.
the Ty Boys.
I'm gonna put Zack Ryder in there
I'm
for
going
a
to
treat.
save some people.
I know he's got the shittest
fucking-
faction ever.
What are you going to call them? Need saving.
I need saved, yeah.
No matches.
They're gonna wear suits and they're gonna fucking fuck people up.
Oh, I should have definitely told you this in advance because this is bad.
I'm gonna go with the one that I said before. The Authors of Pain and Roman Reigns as a heel faction
I hate that.
because Islanders.
It would have been much better.
Even though the Authors of Pain aren't
Reigns and
Islanders,
Usos would have been much better.
So right, Ty Dillinger.
probably better, wouldn't it?
And they can call them the Russos. Reigns and
Oh,
Usos.
not doing that.
Ty Dillinger.
And the manager can be Vince Russo.
No, they had a name. The Bloodline.
Well, they could have, but like,
No, they were called for a while but they were faces and it was shit because they're not going to attack anyone.
cool.
That's when the yeah,
Well, there you go. That was a nice way.
fucking good brothers again.
How do you
Fuck
feel
them.
about our conversation about factions?
Enjoyed it.
We got into it.
We got deep. We covered it quite a broad spectrum.
Balls deep.
Deep, balls deep.
Yeah, deep. Anyway, so Ty Dillinger.
I'm just going to stop this here.
Zack Ryder.
Thank you.